Tonight on TBN, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams are set to play in the 56th Super Bowl. TBN's Andrew Mitchell talks to some of Masters' biggest football fans, breaking down predictions and recapping this year's football season. Masters Fashion Club Beyond Threads hosted its first ever Fashion Week, inviting fashion-loving students to show off their best outfits. The club came out with various themes, encouraging students to come dressed up to win a shout-out on their Instagram. And diving back into their season, the co-ed Masters swim team returns to a sense of normalcy. With fewer COVID restrictions, the team is back to regular practices and even swim meets. All this and more, next.
Good evening and welcome to Tower Broadcast News. I'm your host, Carol K. Roz.
And I'm your host, Lays. We are recapping and following the latest news.
After the flooding of Hurricane Ida in the fall, many facilities in the Fonseca Center were deemed unusable due to flooding, including our very own broadcasting room. But now that FC spaces are coming back online, we are very excited to be back in our broadcasting space.
Absolutely. We would like to thank the maintenance staff for making this possible. And now, on to this evening's news. The 56th Super Bowl is right around the corner. The Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Rams are set to play in the SoFi Stadium this Sunday, February 13th. TBN's Andrew Mitchell set up a panel of some of Masters' biggest football fans to talk game predictions and more. Take a look.
Welcome to TBN's second annual NFL Super Bowl preview show. I'm your host, Andrew Mitchell, and today I am joined alongside three incredible TBN analysts, Kira Rotam, Ethan Schlack, and Max Corin. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We have a lot of great things to discuss, so let's get right into it. You're going to see two quarterbacks with very different backgrounds in the NFL. On one side, we have Joe Burrow, who just finished his first full season in the NFL, leading the Bengals to their first playoff win since 1990. On top of that, Burrow is undefeated in the postseason in just his 2 years in the NFL. On the other hand, we have Matthew Stafford, also only now having his first postseason wins after 12 years with the Lions, now playing debatably the best football of his career. How do you think the history and difference in experience will factor into the game?
I think both have different advantages. I think Matthew Stafford is coming in with experience as a quarterback and an experienced team as well. I think having veteran people on defense like Von Miller and Jalen Ramsey are going to help him so that he can get that time on the field to earn some points. And I think that Joe Burrow, on the other hand, is just some young talent that we've been seeing coming into the NFL really recently. And more these young people are really showing us that they have what it takes to beat these more experienced guys.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of young people on the team, we have a lot of dynamic duos to look out for this Super Bowl with Jamar Chase and Burrow, Cooper Kupp, and Matthew Stafford, and recently OBJ too. What do you expect to see from these players?
Yeah, I think for me, I saw a statistic recently saying that Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow have never lost a game in which they've played together on the field. And having seen Jamar Chase's regular season performances, putting up 150, 200 yards regularly is something that's just so impressive. And even though I think that they might be unexperienced in the NFL, I think that their college experience will certainly lend them some help in the upcoming game.
I'm going to disagree with you on this one, Schlapp. I think Rams are going to devote a lot of their attention to Jamar Chase, just as the Chiefs did in the AFC Championship. And I think a duo we're going to kind of have to watch out for here is Joe Burrow and T. Higgins, because I'm pretty confident that Sean McVay is going to double team Jamar pretty much the entire game. So it's going to leave opportunities for players like Samaje P. Ryan and T. Higgins and maybe Tyler Boyd to get involved in the game. So I think we're going to have to look out for players like that.
Yeah. Who's your X factor for this Super Bowl for both teams?
I mean, my X factor in this game, you got to go with Money McPherson. Edmund McShiesty. He does not miss. The man does not miss. So, I mean, he's been huge for them in the postseason. He had a game winner against the Titans, I think. He drilled like 2 50-yarders in the AFC Championship. He's been huge. So, I think he could have a really great game and give them a lot of crucial points. So.
Yeah, the most 50-plus yard field goals in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Right there.
Statistic.
There we go.
I think for me, it's easy to say, but I think Aaron Donald is certainly someone you got to look at as always a threat. Yeah. Even though he didn't have an amazing game against the 49ers, he made a big play late in the game to kind of seal it for them. And I think with his experience on the field in the playoffs, having played in a Super Bowl before, combined with the fact that the Bengals' offensive line certainly isn't the best in the league, if they can put a stop to Joe Mixon, then that kind of completely eliminates half of their offense.
Yeah, and Joe Burrow ran for 4 first downs in the AFC Championship against the Chiefs, so if they can stop Burrow and Mixon, I think it's game over.
All right, are we feeling ready for our predictions? Who does everyone have winning and why?
I mean, everything in me is telling me to go with Rams. They have a better roster. They have a better offensive line, better defense, better pretty much every position. But, I mean, something I already talked about it, but Zach Taylor's a phenomenal coach. We've been doubting Joe Burrow this whole season, and he's just been performing. And so, my gut is telling me I got to go Bengals on this one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to second that, Max. I think, like we've already talked about, the Bengals have just been playing with this underdog mentality. They have nothing to lose, sort of. And I think, continuing to stay aggressive. And even though they're a young team, they have a lot of playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, a few on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that if they can get to the Rams early, then it'll be hard for the Rams to come back.
All right. I guess I'm the one dissenter here. I think that the Rams absolutely have what it takes. My heart does lie in the AFC North. I'm a diehard Steelers fan, but at the end of the day, I think Matthew Stafford, after 12 seasons in the NFL, wants this more and wants to see his team with Jalen Ramsey, with Von Miller, and especially Sean McVay, get the job done. And I think with the combination of their offense and their defense with Cooper Kupp, who just broke the receiving record for this year, I think they can manage to do it if they work together.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say I'm with Ethan and Max. I've been rolling with the Bengals all season, and I'm ready for them to win their first Super Bowl ever. I'm ready this season. Well, I guess we'll see who's right this Sunday. Thank you all so much for your insights, and back to you.
On the week of January 17th, the leadership of Masters Fashion Club Beyond Threads decided to create Fashion Week, a week that invited fashion-loving students to show off their best outfits with specific themes. Could this perhaps become an annual tradition for the club? Ellie Yang has a story.
Beyond Threads, the Masters Fashion Club hosted their first Fashion Week on the week of January 17th. Students dressed up according to themes chosen by the club to win a feature on the Beyond Threads Instagram and show their love for fashion. The inspiration behind this Fashion Week came from Beyond Threads co-president Giselle Meskin. After others showed interest in the idea, the club's leadership decided to make it happen.
Well, I was just thinking one night, obviously Beyond Threads always does their magazine at the end of the year, but there are so many other fashion events that we could incorporate within the school, and so I was thinking, since the beginning of the year, we've been talking about doing something prior to the magazine, and I thought of one night Fashion Week, and I texted Molly and Sabine about it, and we all loved the idea. They didn't answer for 2 weeks, and then I texted them again, but they all loved the idea, and then we got to work. It was actually quite last minute. We pulled the whole thing together
in like one day.
Literally one day, and it's turned out to be a huge success, which is really lucky.
The different themes were also not selected randomly. There's a story behind each creation of each theme. The themes selected for the Fashion Week were monochromatic, futuristic, snow, and denim.
So I came up with monochrome because I was wearing a monochrome outfit, and I just love putting the same color together but different shades and everything. So that was really fun for me.
And then I love 90s futuristic fashion. I think it's so 90s, but it's yet so now, and I really wanted to incorporate that aspect of fashion into our Fashion Week.
For the snow one, I want to do one based off the Dolce & Gabbana Fall Winter 2006 show, because that was pretty cool, but I really feel something a little more vague.
Freshmen Noah Beneroff and Remit Perlman spoke on their monochromatic outfits.
I'll go first. I'm wearing the North Face puffer jacket. I'm wearing a turtleneck from Brady Melville. My pants are from a motel, and I'm wearing Doc Martens.
My pants are they're vintage pants, and I think they're from the 80s, like around there. This shirt is not my shirt, it's my father's shirt, but I wear it because I like oversized stuff. And then this scarf I honestly don't know where this is from, but it's soft and I like it a lot.
Sophomore Christina Moore also showed off her pink monochromatic outfit.
Well, I saw these pants and I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to do something pink, of course, because I love pink. And so I chose the pants, and then I raided my mom's closet for the sweater, and now I look like a piece of bubblegum.
Juniors Sylvie, Gromada, and Aoife Fortuna showed off their futuristic outfits and commented on their love for the Fashion Week.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a more amped up version of Spirit Week. It's just fun to dress up and see what everyone's doing and everyone's ideas about the different themes and stuff. I love it.
Everyone's different interpretations of
it's so fun.
Leadership hopes to make the Fashion Week an annual tradition going forward.
People seem to like it, which is nice.
And hopefully will be like an ongoing Masters tradition that Beyond Threads does along with the magazine.
Yeah.
Ellie Yang, TBN, the Masters School.
While most sports practices last for around 1 hour and 30 minutes, squash only has half of that time on court per team. But even with the shortened practices, the boys' varsity team still had an undefeated senior game. Hannah Schigiano reports.
Squash has a relatively low number of players compared to other winter sports teams this year, but the limited amount of court space has significantly reduced the amount of practice time. Michelle Dennis, coach of the girls' varsity team, said that having 3 teams and 3 practice times is, in part, the reason for the shorter practices.
We have to share court time. There's only 4 courts. So we have to divide up the co-curricular time. The JV boys go from 3:45 to 4:30, the girls from 4:30 to 5:15, and then the varsity boys from 5:15 to 6.
Dennis said that it is difficult to retain the middle school squash players once they move up to the upper school. Due to the small team size, all the players are automatically on the varsity team, many of whom are new to the sport.
There's only 8 of us, and we need 7 to actually play a match, so it's a little hard because if one person's out, it's 1 or 2 people, we can't even have the match.
Dennis said that having a varsity and JV team would be helpful once the varsity team graduates because the JV team will have improved and ready to become the new varsity team.
It's very hard to build a program if you don't have a JV.
Head squash coach Paul Szaniawski said that while more time would be helpful, having productive practices depends upon the players' work ethic.
The more independent the players are, or the more willing they are to work together on particular drills, they can actually do a lot in small groups and pairs, even with a 45-minute practice time.
Varsity senior Nate Meyer agreed that his team is making the best of the 45-minute practices.
We're on court right when our time starts at 5:15, and we're on right to the last minute at 6 o'clock.
I've seen a lot of improvement and a lot of positive attitude in terms of approaching the challenges, whether that's the practice or playing a difficult school and having a match.
On Friday, January 21st, the boys' varsity team played their senior match against King and won all of their matches. Mir Ahmed, Hassan Saad, George Chang, Kyle Benson, Nate Meyer, Jake Mason, and Ethan Rosenberg all recorded victories. And while the squash practices have been short, senior varsity captain George Chang has enjoyed every moment on the court.
Squash team, it's something I figured out. It's something I discovered after I came to Masters, and to be the captain and to play number 3, I think it's amazing. It's been one of my favorite memories at Masters.
Hannah Schigiano, TBN, the Masters School.
Finally tonight, making a splash. After months of COVID restrictions limiting their practices, like only being able to train on dry land, the Masters swim team is back in the pool, returning to a sense of normality. Take a look.
After nearly 2 years away from the Hamel Natatorium, Masters swim team is diving back into their season and making a splash. The team has faced unique challenges, navigating its season while keeping protocols in mind, but head coach Aliza Lederer said they've powered through.
I'm very happy with the fact that we've been able to keep our season on track. People have been responsible, wearing their masks, following all of the protocols and all of the rules. Our team has really risen to the occasion. On the girls' side, it's hard because we don't have very many, but we do have a really talented team. So even though we've had meets where we've won almost every single event, the way it falls out is that we can't take second and third, so we end up losing the meet even though we've won almost every event. But the girls know that I'm incredibly proud of the way that they're working. They show up, they work hard every single day.
Team member Caterina Stoica noted how spirited the team has been.
They stand at the edge of the pool and just basically cheer you on as you swim. And it's really great to see all those faces and hear everyone screaming for you to win.
Because of the coronavirus, the swim team had to practice on dry land last year. Now, they're back in the pool, taking laps and preparing for different events for their meets. Senior Ollie Peterson noted how leadership has been an important part of bringing the team together.
A lot of the seniors have been here since 7th grade, so it's really cool seeing how we've all sort of been here together. We've grown as a team, as a community, as friends, and it's been really nice.
The team will compete in the FAA Championship meet this Saturday, February 12th. They're hoping to finish off on a swim-impressive note. Kira Rattan, TBN, the Masters School.
And that's all we have time for tonight on Tower Broadcast News. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to subscribe to Tower Broadcasting News on YouTube and follow @Masters Tower on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Lays.
And I'm Carol K. Ross. And from all of us here on the TBN team and the Tower staff, have a great night.